Welcome to The Explainer. You know that feeling of being completely alone, even when you're surrounded by people? Well, today we're diving into an excerpt from Alison Espach's novel, The Wedding People, and it just nails that feeling in the most devastatingly powerful way. So the story opens with this quote from Virginia Woolf, and wow, it just perfectly sets the stage. It's about this deep, profound sadness, but at the same time, it's about endurance. That feeling of life just continuing on, just tacking one day onto the next, no matter how awful things really are. All right, so let's get into it. We meet our main character, Phoebe. She's newly divorced, and she's just arrived at this super luxurious hotel, the Cornwall Inn. But here's the thing, this isn't just some random hotel. For years, this place has been her mental happy place. And right away, you get this clue that something is off. She has no luggage. I mean, none at all. This is obviously not a vacation. It's way more symbolic than that. She's here to shed her entire past, to let everything go, for good. But the second she walks in, her happy place is anything but. The lobby is just a chaotic sea of people from a wedding party. And their joy, this loud, celebratory chaos, it just makes her own isolation feel so much deeper, so much more intense. It's a really sharp contrast. And then, out of nowhere, there's this little moment of connection. The bride, this woman named Lila, she's in a total whirlwind of cheer and mistakes Phoebe for a guest, so she hands her a welcome bag. And you have to understand, after 2 whole years of feeling totally invisible, this simple act of kindness from a complete stranger, it's just almost too much for her to handle. Okay, but don't get too comfortable with that warm, fuzzy feeling because it's about to be completely shattered. Everything changes inside an elevator. This is where the story really takes a turn. So they're in the elevator, just the two of them. And the bride, Lila, she suddenly gets suspicious. She glances at the welcome bag, and you can see the gears turning. She realizes Phoebe isn't on her guest list. And just like that, all that friendliness, gone. She straight up confronts her, wanting to know why she's really at her hotel. And Phoebe's answer? It's just gut-wrenching. She doesn't make up a story, she doesn't lie. She just tells her the absolute, stark, unvarnished truth. And she says it with this chilling calmness that just stops everything cold. Now, you'd expect some compassion, right? Wrong. The bride's reaction is just shocking. It's not empathy, it is pure selfish horror. Her first thought isn't about this woman's life. It's about how this might mess up her perfectly planned week-long wedding. Unbelievable. And that's the thing, this wasn't some impulsive decision for Phoebe. She has a whole plan, and it's meticulous, almost considerate in a way. She's thought about how to make it neat, quiet, how to not make a mess for the staff, and the little details, like packing a Sax for Lovers CD, it just adds this layer of heartbreaking nostalgia for the life she feels she's already lost.
So that's the big question, right? How on earth did she get here? Well, the story then takes us back in time, and we get to see the slow, painful unraveling of her entire life, and especially her marriage.
Even the hotel has a history for her. The Cornwall Inn, it wasn't a place she'd ever been. It was a fantasy she pulled from a magazine at a fertility clinic. It became the symbol of a perfect, beautiful life that she could imagine but could never, ever seem to reach.
And it really wasn't one big thing that broke her. It was more like a death by 1,000 cuts. There was the crushing grief of failed IVF, then the small, stinging dismissals from her husband that just add up over time, and this growing divide between them as his career took off and she felt like she was just disappearing. And then the final blow, the ultimate betrayal, seeing him and her best friend Mia sharing a moment that was clearly more than just friendship.
And this just perfectly shows the massive split between her public self and her private reality. On the outside, she's playing the part, right? She's the supportive wife in a simple, unremarkable black dress. But on the inside, she's just completely collapsing. So after her husband Matt leaves her, she's already hanging on by a thread. But there's one last confrontation, one final, devastating moment that pushes her over the edge, from despair into a firm decision. So Phoebe confronts Mia, her best friend, in the most random, mundane place, a university copy room. And does she get an apology? No way. Instead, Mia actually tries to justify the affair. She basically says, hey, your marriage was already over. She puts all the blame on the very marriage she helped tear apart.
just a total refusal to take any responsibility.
And this is what just completely breaks her. It's this rapid-fire series of blows. In the span of a single day, she gets betrayed by her best friend, and then her therapist drops her as a client because of some insurance issue. Her last lifeline is just gone. She's left feeling completely, utterly alone. And that's the moment she sees her cat's painkillers, goes online, and books that room at the Cornwall Inn.
Which brings us right back to where we started. Phoebe is in her room, finally alone in her so-called happy place, and she's ready to follow through with her plan.
So she's there, she's finally made it. She pulls back these heavy curtains to reveal this incredible penthouse view, but it brings her zero comfort. The ocean is just flat, calm. It's like a silent, empty mirror reflecting exactly how she feels inside. And in this last moment of really dark, profound irony, she takes a sip of that German chocolate wine from the bride's welcome bag, and she remembers what the bride said, "It's tastier than you think." And it is. It's true. Just a small, bitter, unexpected comfort right at the very end.
And the story leaves you with this really powerful question, you know? It's about what happiness even is. It makes you think, can you really escape to a happy place when you have to bring yourself with you? If you arrive but you're still you, is it really a happy place at all? It really makes you wonder.